see, an indigenous person is much different than a modern Western person. In a way, it's very difficult for a modern person to understand, because they give this a name, and we don't give it a name. We know what this is. This is a stone. We know that something pulled it. I touched this and I see the bulldozer that took this from the mountain and put it into the fire. Indigenous people see the stone and they love the stone and they love the earth. And the modern person goes in the other direction. He says, this is a handpan, this is metal, this is this. They will never, ever, ever say this is a stone, because they have no idea it's a stone. They're not connected with their heart to the real truth of what this is. This is a stone. And that's the main difference between indigenous and the modern people. We haven't lost this connection with our heart, with our love. And that's the price of what the people are paying today. They buy their stuff, they don't realize a bulldozer is destroying the planet just to enjoy a few minutes of aha woohoo. We as indigenous start off with one question. I can identify this as a stone and put it outside of my heart, my love, I have no connection. Or I can say I love you. And I can feel the pulse, and I can close my eyes and I can see the mountain where it came from. How many people are afraid of this? How many people cannot love this? When you're fully in love with it, she will never do anything. Things happen in life, they go over 70 years old, they're thinking about death. When you're 50, you think about death, you need this, you need that. All the people are just worried about this physical outside, and they're not worried about, they have no connection with what's connection. So where do we begin? Where does disease begin? It begins when you're not connected. You say, why do the people not look into life? Why do the people not get connected and stuff? Because they're always threatened by something. A 10-year-old person has experienced over 65,000 murder scenes in video games, on television, in comic books, everywhere. So the human being got more and more and more and more desensitive. No, they're not sensitive anymore. The system, the physical system, through the food that they eat, the way they think, the way the books tell them to think, the way they're taught to do things. The human being is a very, very loving human being, but it all depends on how he grew up. What was his family like? What were the books they read? What kind of a system did they have to feed and take care of? What were they allowed to do? What is good and what is not good is taught to everyone. Are too much influenced from the media, and they're looking for orientation and they can't find orientation. I don't know where to orientate. I don't know where my place is. I don't know this. I can't find my place. I can't, but. And this society, where the Western society, let's say the Europeans in the modern day, also the Americans, and where the white people are everywhere, you'll see there's a certain trend. They're carrying their body like machines. The emotions are taking them into places, and things they learned are taking them to places and they've never discovered themselves. And this is really funny parts with anxiety that people feel themselves, but they can't get out. They're afraid of it. Because all of a sudden, two different worlds have just opened up and they can't decide, they don't know where they are. So, if someone comes with anxiety or someone is traumatized, or someone has, as a child, grown up in this society, but for him, is he never had the chance to live that what he is, a peaceful human being, then frustrations happen, fears happen, you're not allowed to expand, you're not allowed to grow, we don't support you, all kinds of other things. You've taken his potential away. When you take the potential away from a person, of course they're going to have fears because they're not living that life that they should be living. We go in the mountains. We go 7 days in the mountains. You sit alone for 5 days at least. We're a duplicate of natural sequences, and we're a part of nature. But if you don't understand what nature is as a living spirit, as a living entity, how are you going to experience yourself as a living entity? So, when we say orientation as how far you want to go, then you go on a discovery journey. So, okay, we go in the mountains. That's what we do. We set up a holy space. There's usually 3 or 4 of us, the medicine people, are around. You're in the middle somewhere, and you're alone. And you're going to get visitors. Animal visitors. Something's going to happen. As long as you're there by yourself, you will see the wonders of nature, and you will have really the chance to experience the wonders. And then after that, we take care of you for about 2 or 3 weeks. It all depends. We'll teach you how to deal with the contrast outside of this sacred space. You discover, okay, I discovered myself, and okay, we have to work on this, and now we have to get used to the physical, and get used to this, and get used to the new discoveries. And it's really, really big discoveries. And it takes some time to get adjusted. But at least there's no anxiety anymore. The good mind is here, not here. Here, not here. This is only a collection dumping station for shit that goes inside and out. You learn about your environment, you give everything titles, you use this, use that, identify, and what's a good mind? The one that can realize the necessities of the daily needs of basic human beings. And to realize that everything these 2 things do has consequences. Everything that this thing does and puts out has consequences. So, what does peace mean? Peace is more like the opposite of hyperproduction. How can the mind be peaceful when it is in hyperproduction, always producing something? The eyes are always crazy stuff to put into it, because the mind wants to identify everything. It's high energy, emotions connected with the outside world. How can you have a peaceful mind if you're always filling it with stuff? Why does the outside world influence the man so much that he can never have a peaceful mind? And he doesn't breathe consciously. The easiest way to have a peaceful mind is to consciously breathe, like slow. And then your relationship to everything changes, and life slows down. And the people that do not do that, their life goes faster and faster, and they get confused, they get aggressive, and they run away and run and run and run. And the one with the peaceful mind has to deal with this. So it's a form of using energy. What is a peaceful mind? Well, don't use the energy for the outside definitions or outside world or outside things. Emotions, emotions, I'm gone. Forget it. The outside. There's no, so breathe 2 times and you're back by you. Peaceful mind. What the system doesn't want you to have a peaceful mind. No psychologist wants you to have a peaceful mind. It's not his job. His job is to pump your head so full with motivation that you will never have a peaceful mind. Next question. When we were in college going through the psychology, and it's also when I spoke to older professors, and I've known people in the psychology field and psychologists. I'm a psychiatrist, also neurologists. They're looking for consciousness, and they're talking about this and that and this, and they're talking about the outside world. They're talking about the influence. They're talking about the causes and this and reactions and this. And the most important thing that anyone can do if they want to learn psychology, and it would be very, very beautiful in the young stages, first learn about yourself. This other information is just data. So like reading words is data, has no relevance. If you're a psychologist, you are meeting a person on an energetic level. You don't have to say a single word. If you're on the right level, you're going to pick up his level and bring it up to yours without saying one word. You are not going to manipulate the human being. You are going to bring him to his potential. Sometimes words are necessary, but use the right ones. And how do you learn to find yourself? You got to go on a journey. But you can be alone for at least 6 months. You can do it 2 times, either 3 months and then 3 months. This is when you're young, you got summer, you got this, there's a way. But if you really want to get into a disciplined field and you want to influence people and you want to help people, you have to first know what you are about. If you don't know what you're about, you're just talking shit. So, learn about what it means to be a human being that influences the best potential in the human beings. And not someone that wants to manipulate. And if you know what you're talking about, you don't have to say a word usually. Of course we do a little bit of talking, but that's not it. It's what are we pulsing? What are we doing? So what's the job of a psychologist? To be at peace? People want guidance. They want someone to tell them what to do. A true psychologist will never tell them what to do. So there are people out there, they call them healing therapists, they call them this, they call them that, they call them this New Age coach, this health coach, this by Pipapo. They're coming away from the one system, and then they can only do private. So this, in the private and on the other side, there's a really huge economic value. But as long as you're caught up in the economic value, you're not a psychologist. You're only training slaves to be super happy on turbo. Success. Success is measured in money and in worth, like how many cars, how many people, how many girls did you have, how many this, how many that, what can you do? So what is success? And if you're talking about success and you look at the planet, I say everything has its price. And I would say success is how much peace can you cause in the world, how much relaxation, how much can you come down from destruction, how much can you say no, how much can you make a distance from being part of this consume machine. And that's where the people are happiest. Training a racehorse to run as fast as it can is a real easy job. Training a dog or training a cow or training an elephant is the same thing. Training human beings to just go maximum. It's real easy if they don't think for themselves. So I ask the question again, what is the real purpose of a psychologist? Where does he want to go? What is he trying to fulfill? And what is kind of a society does he want to build? And 90% of the people that are in this field never think about these things. They want maximum potential. I would say success is the most important part of success is that the world is suitable for 7 generations after me. And it's very difficult for most people to think that that there is a responsibility for everything that we do, and this affects 7 generations behind us, or that's coming. If we do something today, it will affect the children, grandchildren, and. But the human beings and the psychologists do not think in this context.